I once created a video titled Top 10 Countries Where Black People Are Not Welcomed, a must-watch for black travelers. To my surprise, it went viral, sparking a wave of engagement and a surprising question from viewers. Why didn't you include the United States? That question led me down a path of reflection. Are there states within the US where black people truly don't feel welcome? Unfortunately, the answer is a sobering yes, and that's the focus of today's video. In this video, titled The States Where Black People Face the Most Challenges, we'll take a hard look at racial disparities in income, housing, and social dynamics across the US. Did you know that in certain states, Black Americans are over 5 times more likely to be incarcerated than their white counterparts? Or that the income disparity between black and white households in some areas is so wide it could take generations to close, even under ideal conditions? These aren't just abstract numbers. They're lived realities shaping where people feel safe, accepted, and free to thrive. This video delves into the states with the most glaring racial disparities, from economic inequality and social injustices to housing discrimination and beyond. I'm not here to sugarcoat the truth, but I do want to emphasize that these disparities are not inevitable. They stem from systemic issues deeply rooted in history, requiring urgent attention. So, grab a seat as we take an unflinching look at these challenges. And remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. Number 10. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, often celebrated for its industrial heritage and cultural richness, reveals troubling racial disparities, especially in cities like Pittsburgh. With a population exceeding 13 million, approximately 12% of Pennsylvania's residents are black. Yet, their experiences in employment, income, and healthcare paint a stark picture of inequality. According to Bloomberg, Pittsburgh, a hub of industry and innovation, ranks alarmingly low in income equality for black residents. The median income for black households in the city is just $28,000 annually, compared to $53,000 for white households, a staggering gap in one of Pennsylvania's most prominent cities. This disparity isn't just about numbers. It speaks to the systemic barriers that limit upward mobility and long-term economic stability. Employment statistics further underscore this inequality. The unemployment rate for black Pennsylvanians is more than twice that of white residents, with black professionals notably underrepresented in lucrative industries like tech and finance. The health outcomes for black residents are equally concerning. Studies indicate significantly higher rates of chronic illnesses such as diabetes and hypertension among black Pennsylvanians, coupled with reduced access to quality healthcare. In some communities, life expectancy for black residents is nearly a decade shorter than in predominantly white neighborhoods. Pennsylvania's data serves as a stark reminder of systemic inequities. How can such glaring disparities persist in 2024? These aren't just statistics, they reflect real lives impacted by inequality. Stick around as we reveal more states where these challenges are most pronounced, because understanding the scope of these issues is the first step toward meaningful change. Number 9. Kansas. Known for its rolling plains and quiet towns, Kansas hides a troubling reality of racial disparities in income and homeownership. With a population of about 3 million, black residents make up approximately 6%. Yet they face significant systemic barriers. According to a report by 24/7 Wall Street, only 32% of black households in Kansas own their homes, compared to 72% of white households. This gap in homeownership, a critical pathway to financial stability and generational wealth in America, underscores deep inequities in housing opportunities. The income disparity is equally alarming. Black households in Kansas earn a median income of just $35,000 annually, compared to $60,000 for white households. This vast gap impacts access to quality education, healthcare, and investment opportunities, perpetuating cycles of economic disparity. These figures aren't just statistics, they represent barriers that hinder communities from thriving. Kansas, a state with immense potential, highlights how systemic challenges continue to hold black residents back. Number 8. Michigan. Despite its rich history and cultural landmarks, Michigan's black population, comprising about 14% of its 10 million residents, faces deeply entrenched disparities. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the median income for black households in Michigan is $35,000, nearly half that of white households, which stands at $63,000. This economic gap cascades into housing, with only 40% of black Michiganders owning their homes, compared to 76% of white residents. Unemployment rates are also disproportionately high, with black residents experiencing a rate of 10%, more than double that of white residents. This disparity contributes to a 30% poverty rate among black Michiganders, compared to just 10% for white residents. Cities like Detroit, once the backbone of America's automotive industry, have experienced economic decline that has disproportionately affected black residents. The combination of high incarceration rates, limited job opportunities, and systemic barriers makes Michigan a challenging state for many black Americans. Number 7. Louisiana. Louisiana, a state famous for its vibrant culture, music, and Creole cuisine, harbors significant racial inequalities that have long affected its black population. With a population of about 4.6 million, black residents account for roughly 33%, a significant portion of the state's people. Yet, the disparities they face are striking. According to data from the U.S. Census Bureau, the median household income for black families in Louisiana is approximately $28,000, while white households enjoy a median income closer to $60,000. This glaring disparity has far-reaching effects, limiting access to better neighborhoods, quality healthcare, and higher education opportunities. The homeownership gap is equally troubling. Only about 30% of black residents in Louisiana own their homes compared to 70% of white residents, illustrating systemic barriers to building generational wealth. These disparities are compounded by an unemployment rate for black Louisianans that hovers around 12%, nearly double that of their white counterparts. The state's incarceration rate is also among the highest in the nation, disproportionately affecting black residents. Black Louisianans are incarcerated at more than 4 times the rate of white residents, perpetuating cycles of poverty and limited opportunities. Number 6. Alabama. Alabama, a state steeped in civil rights history, continues to grapple with racial disparities that disproportionately affect its black community. With a population of about 5 million, black residents make up around 27% of the state's population. Yet, they face some of the most significant challenges in the nation. The median household income for black Alabamians is approximately $31,000, compared to the $59,000 median for white residents. This nearly twofold gap limits opportunities for economic advancement, creating barriers to accessing better schools, healthcare, and housing. Homeownership is another stark area of inequality. Only about 40% of black families in Alabama own their homes compared to 72% of white families, reinforcing a lack of generational wealth building opportunities. Number 5. Mississippi. Mississippi, often associated with its rich cultural heritage and historical significance, also has the unfortunate distinction of some of the nation's starkest racial disparities. With a black population of nearly 40%, Mississippi has one of the largest black communities in the U.S., yet systemic inequalities persist. The median household income for black Mississippians is a startling $26,000, while white households earn approximately $53,000, a twofold income gap that deeply impacts economic mobility. This disparity trickles into all aspects of life, from housing to education. Homeownership statistics further highlight the inequities. Only 35% of black residents own their homes compared to nearly 75% of white residents. The lack of affordable housing and access to mortgage lending creates a cycle of financial instability. Black residents in Mississippi also face an unemployment rate of about 13%, over double the rate of white residents. Poverty rates are similarly alarming, with 34% of black residents living in poverty compared to just 11% of white residents. Mississippi's history of segregation and discrimination still echoes today, making it a challenging place for many black Americans to call home despite the state's undeniable cultural richness. Number 4. Arkansas. Arkansas, known for its natural beauty and outdoor recreation, reveals deep racial inequalities beneath its serene exterior. With a population of about 3 million, Black residents make up roughly 15% of the state, yet they face significant systemic barriers. The median household income for Black Arkansans is around $28,000, compared to $55,000 for white households. This significant income gap impacts everything from healthcare access to educational opportunities. The homeownership rate for Black residents stands at about 32%, far below the 72% rate for white residents. Unemployment rates tell a similar story. Black Arkansans face an unemployment rate of approximately 12%, nearly double that of white residents. This lack of job opportunities contributes to a poverty rate of 30% for Black residents, compared to just 11% for their white counterparts. While Arkansas boasts scenic landscapes and a growing economy, these systemic issues highlight the ongoing struggles for equity and inclusion within the state. Number 3. South Carolina. South Carolina, a state known for its southern charm and historic landmarks, harbors a reality of deep racial disparities. Black residents, who make up about 27% of the population, face significant economic and social challenges. The median household income for Black South Carolinians is approximately $31,500, starkly lower than the $62,000 median for white residents. This income gap translates into limited opportunities for wealth accumulation and financial stability. When it comes to homeownership, only about 38% of Black residents own homes compared to 73% of white residents. This disparity underscores systemic barriers, such as discriminatory lending practices and unequal access to credit. Employment inequality is also prevalent. Black residents face an unemployment rate of around 10%, nearly double the rate of white residents, which further entrenches cycles of poverty. Approximately 27% of Black South Carolinians live below the poverty line, compared to just 9% of white residents. South Carolina's rich history and cultural legacy offer immense pride, but addressing these disparities remains critical to building a fair and inclusive future for all its residents. Number 2. Tennessee. Tennessee, celebrated for its music hubs like Nashville and Memphis, also confronts significant racial inequalities that affect its Black population, which makes up about 17% of the state's residents. Black households in Tennessee have a median income of approximately $32,000, while white households earn around $62,000. This income gap hinders access to quality education, healthcare, and stable housing. Homeownership is another area where disparities persist. Only about 35% of Black residents own their homes compared to 72% of white residents, reflecting historical and ongoing challenges in obtaining equitable mortgage opportunities. Number 1. North Carolina. North Carolina, often recognized for its booming tech industries and scenic beauty, presents a dual reality where Black residents face stark economic and social challenges. Black individuals account for about 22% of the state's population, yet the systemic disparities they endure are significant. The median household income for Black North Carolinians is approximately $35,000, compared to $66,000 for white households, a troubling income disparity that impacts opportunities for upward mobility. When it comes to homeownership, only 41% of Black residents own their homes compared to 74% of white residents. This gap reflects barriers such as unequal access to credit and discriminatory housing policies that have persisted for decades. Closing thoughts. As we've explored, these states highlight how systemic racial inequalities impact Black communities across America. From income gaps to homeownership challenges and unemployment rates, these disparities go far beyond statistics. They affect real lives, dreams, and futures. But this isn't the end of the conversation, it's just the beginning. Change starts with awareness, and awareness leads to action. What can we do collectively to address these inequities and create a fairer society? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Have you experienced similar challenges in your state, or do you have ideas for solutions? Let's spark a dialogue that matters. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more in-depth explorations of social issues, culture, and travel.